Aha, my DoorDash people. Some exciting news. It's actually putting a very great smile on my face. And I'm hoping this changes the lives for many drivers out there, DoorDash wise at least. There might be a couple of videos out here already on it, but I just want to put in my take on it all. I did a video about a year ago as far as the Dash Rewards program, and I'm sure at this point now you are interested because you've seen that thumbnail. Very big, exciting news per se, but like I said, I did a video about a year ago breaking down how the Dash Rewards program came into effect, exactly about a year now, and seems like DoorDash has came and they've done an update. I won't call it so much a whole different program, and there's reasons why that I'm going to get into, but for most of you guys know how the program worked. For you new dashers out there, let me just break it down to you real quick. You current drivers that just kind of started dashing and really don't understand it, but in short, three different tier levels that you can be in: platinum, gold, silver, from top to bottom. You had to hit certain percentages in each category of your ratings to get just one percentage. You had to hit or stay above it to be in a certain tier. Each tier had certain rewards that you can get and access, and from the bottom to the top, you gain more rewards. The platinum tier, you were able to dash now. You're able to schedule no matter what, any time of the day, for X amount of hours, depending on what market you're in, whether you can drive 24 hours or you're limited to 12 hours like we are here in California. You're able to dash now. The scheduling part, you did receive like a coupon every other Monday or something like that for 30% off in the DoorDash app when you're placing orders for food personally yourself. Additionally to that, you are part of the large order program, and I'm going to get to those rewards in detail in a bit. And then from there down, you had gold and you had silver. Your gold, you did have to schedule, so you have to make sure you stay on top of that. And silver is just the bottom tier of it all. And obviously within each tier, you get better orders. A lot of people say you don't. I personally feel you do. I found myself in a ditch getting into the gold tier. For about a month, it took me to get back out of that gold tier into the platinum. So that's how bad it was, that I feel like I want to make sure that I stay in the platinum tier. I just happen to have to work a lot of overtime on my day job. In a previous video, I broke that all down, but nonetheless, each tier level in the ratings, you hit certain percentages, it'll put you in a certain tier. And with that added, you had to have, depending on what markets, city or state you're in, you had to have a rolling amount of deliveries over the last 30 days, consistently over a rolling point of 30 days. So pretty much what that meant is every day, whatever you did 30 days ago, that would fall off at midnight going into the next day. So if you did 10 orders 30 days ago today at 12:01 this morning, those orders fell off your rolling amount of deliveries. So in some areas you had 100, you had 150, you had 200 rolling amount of deliveries that you had to continually have. If you drop below those amounts, you would drop a tier. I'm speaking from a platinum level, because the gold and the silver does not require does not require a certain amount of rolling delivery. So the platinum tier is where you had to do that. That is part of the big news of this video today. And like I said, I just wanted to break down the actual update. So in short, that was the DoorDash Dasher Rewards program. I personally know nobody really cared for the program. Nobody really liked it. And if somebody did, please reach out to me and explain to me why, in the comments, why you loved that program the way it was and the way it currently actually is, because this is in beta. I don't believe it's rolled out fully yet for everybody. I'm still on the same previous Dasher Rewards or current Dasher Rewards program that we've had. So I haven't seen no changes in my ratings to know that we've moved on to the next update in the sense. But to my understanding, don't quote me, I believe it's certain specific drivers. I don't know in which markets, but I know it's specific drivers from what I read in the press release from DoorDash that they're the ones that were going to be testing this model. All I know is it's a win-win situation for DoorDash and for the drivers. So to then break down the new program, not much has changed. We have just went from this program that we had to a point scale system. It's a point system now that you gain like any other restaurant or retail business that has a reward system. It's point based at that point. So in my head, it seems to be a better thing in dealing with when it comes to actual rewards. Where before we had to count on doing the rolling amount of deliveries, them falling off, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to personally break down the actual updated program. So at this point, so you understand, the 3 tiers are still there: platinum, gold, and silver. They're still there. The rewards within each one of those tiers are still the same. Nothing has been changed. Nothing has been removed. Nothing has been added. With that said, that's why I call it an update and not so much a version 2. I guess it could be a version 2 depending on how you look at it. I just call it an update because there weren't many changes within the actual program besides a couple of things. What's happened now, like I said, it used to be certain percentages you had to hit in each rating column, and it was just one number. Now there's a range of ratings within those columns now. Just so you understand, for example, I'm going to use the platinum tier as an example. Before, let's just say you had to hit 80% acceptance rating, and then your completion rating, you had to hit 80% or above. Then your on-time rating, same thing, 80% and above. And then your customer service rating, maybe 4.95 and up. That's just an example of what the old program was. Now you will have a range of percentages that will equal you points within that range of points. So you understand, don't quote me on these points and the percentages. I'm just giving you a nice clean example. For platinum tier only, your acceptance range, it would be anything between 90 and 100% acceptance rating would net you 25 points. Same thing with your on-time rating, 90 to 100% would net you 25 points. Same thing for your completion rating, 90 to 100%, 25 points. And your customer service rating, let's call it 4.95 to 5-star rating, would net you 25 points. So obviously the 4 columns, the 4 percentage ranges, including the customer service rating, would net you a total of 100 points, 25, 25, 25, 25. Now for the actual tier itself, for example, it would be if you have 90 to 100 points would net you in the platinum tier. So that's kind of how this is going to play out now. And things go down as you go down in tier, and points, you go down in tier. So when I told you that range of 90% to 100, you obviously have a little bit of wiggle room within each one of those columns of ratings. Because at the end of the day, you need 90 to 100 points. So that means that within each one of those columns of rating, that range of ratings, percentage-wise, you have a little bit of wiggle room. So where if you have, let's say for instance, your acceptance rating is 90%, maybe you declined 1 or 2 orders there, but you were perfect with 100% on the on time, on the completion, what you did accept, and on your customer service rating, you had 5 stars. It would still net you that range of 90 to 100 points to then continue to stay in the platinum tier. So you have a little bit of wiggle room within each column of ratings that you can kind of play with. I don't suggest it because why? Of course, you're going to have people out there that's going to decline. So that's going to be what that's going to be. Your on-time rating, I think that's never going to be perfect. So you might end up having to kind of tighten up around there. Maybe you're not able to, so it's going to make other columns, you're going to need to make them more perfect, because just being on time, it's just not going to happen. I don't think I've ever had 100% on time ever. And that's just for reasons of traffic, orders not being ready on time. It's just a variety of different things that will keep you from having 100% on time rating. So that's one that's just going to kind of take a dip there, to where you're going to have to make sure the other ranges are more on the perfect side to make sure you stay in the platinum tier. Now, to give you an example of the gold tier, just to break down from that, just so you understand fully. And then the silver, I won't bother explaining because it's just kind of the same thing. So for instance, the gold tier, same columns, same tier being gold, same rewards within. Now it's 80% to 90% for the acceptance rating, 80 to 90% for the on-time rating, 80 to 90% for the completion rating. And now for your customer rating, we're talking a 4.90 to a 4.95. Now, what nets you points for those ones? It would be 20 points. Instead of 25, like the platinum tier, this nets you 20 points per each in a perfect scenario to be in the gold tier. So anywhere between 80 and 90, 80 and 90, 80 and 90, and 4.90 to 95, each one of those would net you 20 points for a total of 80 points, which the requirement for a gold tier would be 80 to 90 points. And it would be the same thing going to silver. It would just go down and it would be the same thing. Now, I said, don't quote me on those percentages. Don't quote me on those points. What I will be doing is I will be doing a voiceover web page viewing, and I will be breaking down each individual question, each individual fact that DoorDash is putting out regarding this program. Now, here comes the good news and the great news that all you guys, including me, I'm like so excited about. It's bringing me back to Top Dasher vibes in the sense, but even I would say probably kind of better than that, because now in this beta program that they're testing, they have done away with the whole rolling of deliveries, completely done away with it. I cannot fathom running and driving in this program and not having to worry about orders falling off every day and worrying and worrying and worrying. That was a lot. It was like you couldn't take a day off, you couldn't be sick. There's so many different things that could keep you from dashing, and you got penalized, especially in the platinum tier and more or less in the platinum tier. If you're anything below gold or into silver, it just made it that much harder to get to platinum, trying to get all your ratings up. And then on top of that, you had to keep up with the 100, 150, or 200 rolling deliveries over a 30-day period. So to not have those anymore is a very great thing. And so what happens there is you actually end up staying in your tier as long as your percentages don't fall below those ranges of points that would keep you in that tier. So you could take a day off, you could take 2 days off, you could take a week off or 2 weeks and still stay within your tier and come right back to it, to be able to dash now and not worry about anything falling off. Like, I don't know what you guys, I don't know if you understand how that's going to feel. How many drivers is going to be more excited to get out there and dash and not be so down, because especially part-time drivers, because part-time drivers probably don't even dash that much as it is, let alone trying to do 100 orders consistently, having 100 orders going all the time, or 150 or 200, depending on the markets that you're in. That's what I heard it went up to. So to completely do away with that, with all due respect, DoorDash, I do appreciate it and I thank you. Not all the time DoorDash gets things right. There's some cool things within the program. There's some things that are not so cool or whatever it is. And this is one big thing that I know a lot of people complained about, including me. At the beginning, I dealt with it. I was platinum for the better part of 11 months. And then there was 1 month I went into gold and it hit me and it just dropped me like a rock. And I had a hard time getting back up. And I pretty much accept everything, generally speaking. And it's because I can, because the amount of money that I make per mile, generally speaking. I'm not saying that's what they pay on a per mile basis out here in California, but it's just because of my ratings. My ratings, I feel, is what nets me the most amount of money. So I make anywhere between $3 and $7 a mile on average. So it's easy for me to accept everything where people have so many questions about it. I've constantly provided receipts, blah, 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 of all my orders. And they are very high paying to where I don't even have to pay attention to where orders are going, because Southern California is so busy in the sense The deliveries are not very long. There's so many drivers out here. We don't have those long 10-mile and 15-mile distances. Now, I have done those type of deliveries in those certain cases, being that I am involved in the alcohol delivery. I am part, obviously, of the catering large order program deal or whatever it is. So whatever I do get, I am involved in all of it that they offer, as well as the pizza program. So if they don't have certain drivers out there where they do have me in an area, I do get a lot of alcohol orders, including the shop and deliver orders. I am also signed up to do, which I make a lot of money with shop and deliver orders. But that was just to pretty much break down how this point system is going to go. Like I said, when we do this talk over, I'm going to do a voiceover and show you the actual web page, press release from DoorDash themselves, and it'll actually have the quoted breakdowns of everything and how this is going to go. But that is the big news. The little bad news is that you will have to focus on those points and keeping them up to make sure you stay within that tier. But you no longer, especially the Platinum Dashes, you no longer have to worry about the drop off of orders. Now, my problem with that, just to kind of break it down to you, and I'm gonna give you two different things. When you sign up for a rewards point system, the way that works is obviously when you buy food or whatever it is, you gain points. You gain points to use as a reward, whether it be more free food or a discount off on food. Same thing with retail places. You gather points and they may give you coupons to use at a later time, or when you get to certain points, you can get maybe $20 off your order at a certain point or something like that. So with that said, with that point system within those places, maybe some of them have it where some of the points expire at a certain time if you don't use them, or the points will stay. And they will just continue to build up until you're good and ready to use them. Now, when they do remove them, they just remove them and they will end up back to zero. You will just end up back to zero. You won't fall into a negative of points. And DoorDash was kind of doing that. It was kind of putting you in the negative, in the sense, more time-wise, that you're not able to dash because now you've dropped a tier, now you can't schedule, and now you have to make up whatever falling orders have fell off on top of that. So to give you a prime example of something that I feel is like highly legal, this example I'm going to give you, but it's almost the same thing that DoorDash was doing, and it sucked. Put it this way, you have a day job that you go to and you make $200 a day. Let's leave vacation time out of this picture, all that. Just day for day, you go to work, you make $200 a day, whatever your salary is. You don't go to work one day. You lose the $200, obviously, because you didn't go to work. On top of that, imagine the company taking an extra $100 from you that you then have to come back and make up in the form of overtime. Just to get back to a balance, just to get back to zero. Imagine that. Imagine how crazy that is. How illegal that is, or that would be. To take an extra $100 from you that you then have to make up before you could start making any kind of profit, or to start making your salary again. It's wild and it's crazy. And I say that because DoorDash was kind of doing the same thing, but in the sense of order. So if you're in the platinum tier and you're rolling around 100 orders or 150 or 200, depending on what was required of you, if you missed a day and you were right there at that number, and 30 days ago, you did 10 orders, you were going to drop 10 orders. Now you fell into the gold tier. Now you weren't scheduled for that next day. And now you can't get a schedule, which means you can't drive, which means now you don't make money. So where they're not taking money from you, you're actually losing money because of that. And that's there where it was made as a thing to create a buffer for yourself. And what I mean by a buffer, if your amount was 100 rolling orders that you had to have, or 150 or 200, maybe set yourself at about 150 or 200 or 250. Give yourself an extra 50 order buffer. That way, if you need to take a day off, 2 days off, maybe 3 days off, depending on how many deliveries you did 30 days ago that would fall off, you would have coverage before you get back down to that minimum level, before it drops you down into the next tier down, into the gold tier. So that's what I mean by it just sucked that they would do that. And it's like, for me, it's like, why are you penalizing? Like, these are your drivers that's making you money. Like, I get it, you want them to get out there and drive, but it's like, why do we get penalized because we couldn't make it to work? We couldn't sign in to drive. Maybe I didn't feel good. Maybe I have a day job where I was too tired to drive, and I get penalized. Now I got 90 orders. I can't schedule, so I can't make up the 10 orders. If I weren't able to do no orders that day, now the next day, maybe there's another 7 orders. Now we're 17 orders down. And to try to do that amount of orders when you finally are able to get in, maybe for a couple of hours if the map turns pink, or if a schedule comes up that you can grab for a couple of hours, at least here that's what it is, or it's in the middle of the night where you got 1 or 2 hours that you can dash, and that's most of the time when you're sleeping. So it sucked. And it's like, why am I being penalized for something I did 30 days ago? Like, it just makes no sense. And I felt that it's wrong, and I feel that it's wrong, that we're still dealing with. So again, you can imagine this new update to not have to worry about that part. It would make you not take dashing for granted. Because all you people that took the Top Dasher program for granted and complained and complained and complained, I bet you didn't like it when the Dasher Rewards program came up. And I didn't take it for granted, and I still didn't like the Dasher Rewards program, so I know you others hated it. Now, I've seen a lot of these content creators that used to cherry pick this and that. Their ratings were rock bottom. They didn't care, this and that. And then when this rewards program came up, oh man, I just sat back and watched almost all of them just, oh man, I got to bring up my ratings. I got to bring up my ratings, blah, 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 blah. And it was funny because I always made it clear that these ratings meant something. They don't have this rating system for no reason. And a lot of people constantly saying, oh, this ratings means nothing, blah, 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 blah. And of course, you cherry pick or you decline, do whatever you want to do. Financially, you do what you need to do to help you and or your family at the end of the day. So generally say, don't listen to anybody that has anything to say unless it's something that's good, that's going to drive you in a direction that's going to make you money. But don't follow anybody's negative opinions when it comes to things, because what this dollar over here may be worth it to somebody, maybe over there it's not worth it. So it's like you have to drive for yourself. You have to dash for yourself. Even me, it's like I post my earnings and this and that. Don't assume that you'll make what I make, and I don't assume I'll make what the next person makes. I get out here and I accept what I like to accept to make the money that I need to make by the end of the day. Regardless of miles or whatever it is, like, I don't want to hear about miles, because at the end of the day, you signed up to do a job that required you to drive your car, use your money to pay for gas, and put miles on your car. So out of all the jobs out there in the world that a person can have, you chose to have that one, and then you complain about miles. It's just kind of like, doesn't make any sense. Of course, there's people out there that have cars that are barely hanging on or whatever it is. So you do whatever you have to do. I mean, at that point, you have to make money. And if you can't find a day job or a job that doesn't suit you well, then this is all you have. It's like, I get it, where you have to accept certain orders that are worth it. Of course, in my market, I make a good amount of money, so I don't have to worry about that. And I make enough money where I can buy a new car every year if I wanted to. The reality of that, no, I'm not, because my car will last me 4, 5, 6, 7 years or whatever it is. So I'm just out here making a bunch of profit. So with that said, people, that was just my take on my personal take with you on this updated program. So I'm definitely looking forward to my understanding, this rolled out on Wednesday, the 18th of December. Like I said, to certain drivers. So with that said, if you have made it to this point of the video, I do appreciate it. There is another little half, maybe not as long. We're just going to go over the web page in detail so you have all the specifics. But I just wanted to explain to you so you understood, because the percentages and all that stuff and the points, it gets a little crazy on the actual web page itself. So this was just something to kind of explain to you in simple detail and compare the two programs themselves. But like I said, the excitement of not having to worry about the drop off of orders is amazing in that sense. I do appreciate you if you've made it this far in watching. Thank you. But just bear with me for a couple of seconds while I get this this talk over and this web page loaded up, and I will see you back in a couple. Alrighty, peace out. Okay, my DoorDash people, so I am back. As stated, I just had to get my laptop together and just gonna get myself set up. But just to quickly go over the page here, I will be posting the links. Not the links, but I will be posting screenshots of the actual details as I go along, so you can read along with me. If you like it, it'll be more than enough time for you to actually pause it and read it if you like. Again, this page is available out there. It's called the Overall Dasher Rating Pilot, Overall Dasher Rating Pilot, if you just want to Google it and you want to go over the page yourself. But I just thought that I would sit here, just like I did the last Dasher Rewards, or the current one that I did a year ago. I want to do it the same way. So just to have a quick overview of the website page itself, just so you can get the exact details versus what I was giving to you as just simple examples for you to understand how this process will work come this program. So we'll start here with the overall dashing rating pilot overview. To introduce more flexibility into the Dasher Rewards program, we are introducing the overall Dasher rating. It's a new qualification method designed to give you more flexibility to unlock rewards on your own terms. Select Dashers in the rewards program will be eligible to earn rewards based on the overall Dasher rating starting on December 18th, as of last year, 2024. Please note that Dashers must have completed 50 or more deliveries to be eligible for this rewards program. Assuming that you are one of the ones that will be testing or running in this beta program, you will need at least 50 deliveries overall lifetime wise that you can find in your ratings page to determine that you've hit 50. And then it just says more information about the overall Dash Rewards program can be found here. There's a link there that I actually kind of take you to a page that give you more details. So then now it breaks down, what is the overall Dasher rating? The overall Dasher rating combines points you earn from your acceptance rating, your completion rating, your customer rating, and on-time rating. This new overall dashing rating will be the new way to unlock silver, gold, and platinum levels. The next, what does this mean for you? If you're part of the pilot beta program pilot, you'll qualify for these rewards tier based on your overall Dasher rating. This means that you are now more ways to deliver high quality service to unlock the same level of rewards. So just to give you guys an actual example here, as I have included the screenshots on, as you said, let's take these two Dashers as example. So this is the part that I was kind of telling you, that you have a little wiggle room in each column of ratings. You have some wiggle room that you can play around with and still come out to, say, the certain percentage or same percentage that you want. And they're giving you two examples here to kind of let you know that you can still find yourself within the same tier, but different ranges of ratings in different areas, depending on how your performance is within your rating system. So maybe you're better at being on time, or you're better at accepting, or you're better at completing your orders, or your customer service is better. There may be some cases where you're not as good in certain areas or whatever it is, but you can make those up in points in your good areas where you have low points in other areas and still find yourself within the proper tier that you would like to be in. So these are the examples it is that I'm giving you. So for example, it's going to go acceptance rating, completion rate, customer rating, and on-time rating. Those are the breakdown ratings. So just so you can see, Dasher A, as an acceptance rating, it's 70%, and that Dasher would get 15 points. The completion rating, if they had a 98% completion rating, they would get 30 points. For the customer rating, if they had a 4.82, that would equal 7 points. And the on-time rating, 90%, would get you 20 points for an overall Dasher rating of 72 points. Okay, so you can understand what I mean by you have some play in different areas. Now you have Dasher B, and this is going to break down to equal the same amount of points, but you're going to have different percentages throughout those ratings. So as you can see, of course, by the screenshots, for Dasher B, maybe they have 40% and they get 3 points for their acceptance rating. Their completion rating was 100% and they got 35 points. Their customer rating was a 4.98 this time and they got 10 points. And then lastly, their on-time rating was 94%, which gave them 24 points, which then still equaled the 72 points needed to still be within whatever the tier level is, and it still gave you the same amount of points. So like I said, depending on your areas, if you're perfect in all areas, then you generally don't have to worry about it, and you're more closer to 100 than anything else. But if you want to decline a few orders, you may get less points, but then you're going to have to make sure you're higher in the other 3 categories ratings wise. So that's why I said this can be a good and bad thing. I think still overall a good thing, because for the most part, the people that are out here dashing are completing their orders. They are accepting orders. The on-time rating, again, that's something that's going to be kind of hit and miss. It won't ever be perfect. And then your customer rating, that's just kind of based on how you are customer service wise with your customers. So there is some wiggle room you can have. You just have to make sure that you pay attention to those percentages to make sure you get the right amount of points. And this is where it gets a little more detailed, as I did speak and say before. So to continue on, with an overall dasher rating of 72 points, both of these dashers will both unlock the gold level. However, the way that they earned these points were completely different. So that's pretty much what I was explaining to you, and that's why they used them as both examples, just so you can understand that there can be 2 different dashers with 2 different rating ranges that can still find themselves with the same points, that can still find themselves both within the same tier, in this case, the gold tier. So now to then furtherly break down, as you can see here, these are the 3 different tiers and the points that you can be in within to then have access to those tiers. So we'll start from the bottom, which will have you an overall dasher rating of points from 60 to 64 points. The gold will get you from 65 to 74 points, and the platinum tier will give you 75 points to 100 points. The rewards you unlock on each one of those tiers, again, nothing has changed there, but as you can see here, for the silver, priority access to high-paying offers, and early access to scheduling. For the gold tier, you have the highest priority access to paying offers, early access to scheduling, and you get VIP call-in or chat support. And then, of course, your platinum tier, you have priority access to Dash Now whenever you like, top priority access to high-paying offers, early access to scheduling, VIP support, your priority access to large orders, and discounts on DoorDash. Again, that coupon that I told you they would send you out every other Monday for like 30% off or something like that. So those are the breakdown of the tiers. That's why I was saying it's more just kind of an update and not a whole nother program, because those things are still the same. That's what was happening already in the current rewards program that we have currently going on right now. So to continue on, as a frequently asked question, how is the overall dashing rating calculated? Just says your current acceptance rate, completion rate, customer rating, on-time rate will help you earn points towards the overall dasher rating. As each rating changes, your overall dasher rating will update as well. And it just says see below and learn how many points you can receive for each rating. So to break down the acceptance rating, the range is considered very high when you're 90 to 100%, which will give you 24 to 25 points. High will be 71% to 89%, which will give you 15 to 23 points. Moderate, right in the middle or so, 51% to 70% acceptance rating will get you 6 to 15 points. A low acceptance rating will give you 26 to 50% will give you 1 to 6 points, and very low, anything between 0 acceptance rating and 25%, which means that you're accepting 2 to 2.5 orders out of 10 will net you 0 points. So at that point, I would see you in an acceptance rating. If you're accepting 0 to 2.5 of the orders or 3 orders out of 10 orders, pretty bad market that you're driving in. So either A, need to find a better market around you, or maybe just DoorDash probably just not the place for you to be working wise. And it's not to say that don't drive for DoorDash, but I'm just saying if those are the constant orders you get and you can only accept 2 to 3 orders out of every 10, then that just may kind of tell you something. And it's not so much that DoorDash is just shooting you low paying, crappy orders. It's just the simple fact that your market is not bringing in enough money to be sending you offers with high paying amounts. That's just simply what that is. So to continue, move on, for the completion rating part, the range is very high for 99 to 100% completion, with net you 33 to 35 points. For high, it's a 96 to 98% completion rating, which would net you 22 to 30 points. Moderate or right in the middle or so would get you from 90% to 95%, would net you 1 to 18 points. And then, of course, very low in your completion rating, which should generally never be, 0 to 89% would net you 0 points. So ideally, a completion rating should be, the moment you accept an order, ideally you should be completing it. Every blue moon, there may be an order that doesn't get completed because you had to end your dash or something like that. But for it to just be oddly in between the middle of one of your orders is just kind of crazy. When it's just like, go on and deliver your order, click that you don't want to get any more orders accepted until, after you deliver this one, so you can go ahead and sign off. But I can understand there's certain cases where an order doesn't get completed, generally speaking. I'm just more like, oh, you either got to take that food back or that order back, or I'm just not sure why you would be in the middle and have to, and not be able to complete your order. But I'm sure there's lots of cases out there being that they have this, this calculation for a rating. So moving on from there, you have your on-time rating. Again, this is something that probably will never be perfect. There may be some people out there that have 100%. I would say it's very rare. I am very fast when I'm door dashing, whether it's my efficiency in my driving, or going in and getting the orders, getting in the car and getting on my way. You got to realize you make more money, generally speaking, the faster you are. And I'm not saying to a point where you're hurting yourself, crashing, or getting a ticket. But the faster you are, generally speaking, the faster you will be to get put back on the market to then get the next order, which will then net me more orders in the day, which will then net me more money versus somebody that's on the slower side. And of course, like I said, if you can't get any faster because maybe you have a disability, you can't walk faster, or anything like that, just do what you can to make the most that you can. So that part's that. But the on-time rating range is very high, is 96% to 100%, and that will net you 26 to 30 points. High will be 86% to 95%, which will net you 16 to 25 points. Moderate or right in the middle or so, on-time rating would net you, would be a 71% to 85% rating, which would net you 6 to 15 points. Low on-time rating would be 61% to 70%, which would net you 1 to 5 points. And a very low on-time rating would be 0 to 60%. Of the time that you're on time would net you 0 points. Now, I would say on average, the average person's probably at the lowest, moderate to very high, but I would like to assume most people are high. I think I'm in the category of high, just because that would mean that you're a few minutes late, kind of most of the time. But to be in like very low, which is 0 to 60%, is like crazy. But again, there's probably people out there that do have it. So in that case, they're going to net them 0 points with that, which is going to hurt you in terms of getting you in this right tier that you'd like to be in. Now, the last one, your customer rating, that range very high from 4.96 to 5 stars would net you 10 points. High would be 4.86 to 4.95, which was 8 to 9 points. Moderate or right in the middle or so would be 4.71 to 4.85 stars, would net you 5 to 7 points. And low would be 4.21 to 4.7, which would be 1 to 4 points. And anything at the lower side of 4.0 to 4.2 would net you 0 points. This job is very simple in the sense, so you don't actually have to be doing things wrong to be getting those type of overall ratings. To have a 4.0 to 4.2, that means that out of 100, that's what you're getting from every customer. You're getting a 4.0 to 4.2. So maybe you want to work on your customer service skills. Just not sure what exactly a person would be doing, because most of the time we accept an order, we don't even talk to the customers most of the time, and we're just delivering and dropping off at their door. Maybe 1 out of 10 orders, we're handing it to them. So unless you're just leaving orders, all your orders and away from the door or right in front of door screens that open out, or at apartments, you're leaving it at their sidewalk instead of walking it into the building to their door. And that means you'd have to do that for 100 of your orders to get an overall score of 4.0 to 4.2 is wild and crazy to get 0 points for that. So I pray and hope that nobody is in that area of a customer rating. So To continue to move on with the question and answers, it says, will there be any changes to the rewards at different tiers? No, as a part of this pilot, there will be no changes to the rewards being offered in the program. You'll continue to have access to those rewards that you love. Exactly like I said, there was no changes to the rewards part of all this says, what happens to my overall dasher rating if I dash outside my area? The overall dasher rating pilot will remain active and determine your eligibility for the rewards program as long as you primarily dash in this area. If you dash frequently in multiple areas, your reward qualifications may revert to the qualification criteria in another area. Check the ratings tab in your app anytime to stay updated. Now, what they mean by that is, like, for instance, here in California, generally speaking, I can only speak within the markets that I've drove in, but they've all been 100. It's all been 100 rolling deliveries that was required to get these rewards and the tiers and whatnot. But I've heard places that needed 150. I heard New York had 200 orders that they had to have rolling all the time, which is extreme and crazy because I'm complaining about 100. So to imagine 200 is wild. So they're just saying, like, if you drive in another market, maybe things will change. So please make sure that you check your ratings. Check your ratings to see, even going into this new updated program, their percentage ranges may change from one market to the next. So don't assume, hey, I'm driving in the next city over, that they're the same, because those percentages that I just went over with you, overall for the tier and overall for your actual ratings, all that can change from one market to the next. So be very clear and certain when you go into other markets to make sure that those percentages are all the same, so you don't find yourself having to drop a tier or whatever it is, as we all know what it feels like to drop a tier and have to try to climb yourself back up if you're that type of driver that likes to stay on top. So to move on, once I qualify for a level, how long will it take me to begin to receive those rewards? Once your overall dasher rating qualifies you for the new tier in the rewards program, your new eligible rewards will instantly be unlocked and remain active as long as your overall dasher rating stays within the requirements for that level. So it's just pretty much saying once you hit those certain marks, it'll instantly change over even while you're dashing. You don't have to refresh the app or anything like that. When they started the Dasher program, this first original one that they had, they did say that it was a possibility that it would happen 1 to 2 days out, that things would update. But for the most part, when I did, it was immediately, and I went into the program immediately in the platinum tier, so I really couldn't speak about it. But the time when I fell into the gold tier and I got passed to get back into platinum, it was instant. So for the most part, it should be instant. Now it says, what happens if my overall dasher ratings, my dasher rating drops below the minimum to qualify? If your overall dasher rating drops below the minimum to qualify for the rewards, you will still be able to dash, but will no longer qualify for those rewards in the Dasher Rewards program. You can always check the ratings tab in the Dasher app to see how many points you're getting for each of the ratings and identify areas to increase your points. So if any of those areas changes and it drops you, then you can go and you can at least try to focus on lower range rating areas that you do bad in. So if you're not always on time and you're like really bad, then just try to put a little pep in your step to try to increase those ratings to try to give you more points to then make it better for the tier that you're going to be in. Or if your acceptance rating, and I'm not saying you have to accept all your orders, but if you're really low in accepting your ratings and that's an area where you can improve, then maybe accept some more orders. But that's kind of tricky, and I won't get into that because it causes a whole big old drama fest, being that every market is different, every market pays different. So I'm not going to get into what you need to accept and what you don't. I'm just purely speaking what they say about that in terms of where you can increase and help your points out to help you get in the tier that you may want to be in. Now it says, what if I have completed less than 50 deliveries? For dashers who have completed less than 50 deliveries, we understand that it takes time to learn how to use the platform. To help you get off to a great start, new dashers will have access to special perks for the first 50 deliveries, regardless of what overall dasher rating is. As you continue to dash, you will start to see the overall dasher rating score based on your current acceptance rating, completion rating, customer rating, and on-time rating. After you completed your first 50 deliveries, you will then be able to qualify for the Dasher Reward program. Based on your overall Dasher ratings with Dasher Rewards, you will be able to unlock multiple levels of the same perks and more. So if you're a brand new driver, you just have to complete 50 deliveries. And and then you'll be able to see these things. But you at least got to knock 50 out, and 50 is not hard to achieve, generally speaking. It shouldn't be, depending on if you're a part-time or full-time driver. So next, it says, how often will the overall Dasher rating update? Any changes in your ratings, acceptance, completion, customer rating, or on-time rating will be automatically reflected in your overall Dasher rating. Example, if your completion rating drops from 99 to 97%, your overall Dasher rating may decrease by 2 points, as your completion rate is worth 32 points instead of the 34 points that it was before. So ideally, it's going to change probably instantly. If not, then as soon as you end your dash and start back the next one, then it'll probably go on and reflect in. But I'd like to say it's probably going to be an instant thing that DoorDash has. So the next thing, it just says, can I still decline offers? So Dashers can accept and decline offers based on their personal preferences. So even DoorDash is telling you, hey, you can accept and you can decline what you like. They're not telling you that you have to accept any orders, and they're not saying that you to decline certain offers. At that point, it's your personal preference to decide what's worth it and what's not worth it to you. I'm sure DoorDash knows that there are some areas and markets where people are not happy with the amount of money that's being offered for certain deliveries, or that it's so many miles for the least amount of money, generally speaking. Again, if you work in a market, and I see this time after time with Dashers, especially content creators, I've said it a million times that they sit and question month after month after month, year after year after year. They question why they're getting certain types of orders and call them trash orders if you want. Upside down offers, generally speaking, how a lot of people know them, but these are offers where they're getting more miles for the order than what they're getting in pay. So let's say, for instance, you're getting a $4 order to go 8, 9, or 10 miles. If that's what you're consistently getting, again, you need to be smart enough to realize and know that DoorDash is not bringing in enough money into that market or where you drive. And it's just unfortunate because it's where you live or where you drive, that's where you signed up and that's where you're dashing, that those are the type of offers you get. Whereas me, I live in Southern California. It's a melting pot of different type of restaurants, so many shop and deliver stores that we're able to get to, and so many people that live here that use the service. They're bringing in a whole lot of money to where they can then offer the drivers a whole lot. And that's not to toot my horn or toot California's horn or anything like that, or make it seem like it's the greatest, because there may be other areas that pay even more than us. But it's just simple facts at that point that you have to understand. If the company was yours and you were operating it and you weren't bringing in enough money to pay these people like you paid people in other states, it would just be what it is, and you would then understand because you're the business owner. But because you're not the business owner, you say, oh, well, why this and that, and how can you this and how can they that? And at that point, it's just kind of what it is. They can't pay you more than what the city is worth or what that market is worth in terms of the profits they bring in. They have to pay you accordingly. And from there, that's up to you if you want to continue to dash or do this job. And it's not to piss anybody off. It's just what it is. Even looking for jobs out in the world, if the job doesn't pay you enough, you don't apply for the job. And there's some cases where people will accept the job because they don't have one to begin with. So they'd rather accept and get something than nothing. And that stands to be the same thing for these jobs here, as well. As just you sign up on a contract to say that you're going to drive your car, you're going to put miles on your vehicle, you're going to replace your gas to be able to make these deliveries. So then when you tie that into orders that are $2 and $3 for 10 miles, financially, it doesn't make sense for you to do this job, but you continue to do it. It's something about these drivers that want to continue, and content creators that want to continue, especially to make content. And I get it on that part. Content is content, but at the end of the day, what you're complaining about does not make any sense. When you continue to get these offers, and it's like you make the same old videos, DoorDash trash, DoorDash trash, DoorDash trash, this and that, and you want these certain type of offers. And then after some time, you get these certain type of offers and you're like, nah, I want more, I want better. And it's just like, it's just crazy. But I try not to worry myself about what others say. I'll watch videos, I'll support other dashers and other content creators that are in this dashing market at the end of the day. But it's just crazy to see how some of these drivers act, and they act so shocked and surprised from one day to the next. And there's some days that are going to be good for you, and then you're going to have a lot of days that may be bad or whatever it is. So I'll just kind of leave that where that is when it comes to the declining of offers per what DoorDash is saying. So last couple of questions. Do I still have to complete a certain amount of deliveries in a 30-day period to qualify for the rewards program. My God, my Jesus. This is the part that just excites me to no end. Like, if this program makes it through, it's just going to be so comforting to be able to just dash like normal and not have to worry about something you did 30 days ago. So to answer the question as they have answered, do I still have to complete a certain number of deliveries in a 30-day period to qualify for the rewards program? The answer is no. As a part of this pilot, you no longer have to complete a certain number of deliveries in a rolling 30-day period to unlock platinum. However, you must still have completed 50 or more lifetime deliveries to be eligible to qualify for the program, which we've already talked about. But again, to not have to worry about those drop off of 30 days of rolling orders, whether it's 100, 150, or 200, is amazing, because it just goes to tell you from the day that you stop dashing, you take off a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you come back, you will still be in the same spot you were when you left. So you don't have to stress, you don't have to worry, you don't have to anything. If you left while you were in platinum, you're going to come back to a platinum. You can come right back into dashing now, because that's one of the features, being in that tier. Same thing for the gold and silver. But again, generally speaking, this really only majorly affected the platinum dashers that had to be in the platinum, that wanted to be in the platinum tier when it came to these rolling amount of deliveries. So I'm generally speaking to you guys, and of course the gold and silver tier. If you want to work your way up to the platinum tier, you don't have to worry about keeping up these rolling amount of orders. Again, you get sick, maybe you had to work some overtime at your day job, maybe you had to go out of town, vacation, whatever example I can throw out there, you do not have to worry, because they are dropping this off of the program itself. So for me, and for DoorDash, I mean, overall, I think it's a win-win situation, because I think drivers will be more wanting to actually get out there and dash, because they won't have to worry. If they want to do 25 orders one day and then do 10 orders the next day, or maybe 1 order the next day, 30 days later, they don't have to worry that those are going to fall off, and they have to get out there and dash that day to cover those losses of orders that's going to roll off. No. You're just purely out there making the money you want to make per day, as much as you want to drive, as much as you want to accept, and not have to be penalized 30 days later with things that are coming off. Because me personally, I've got it to a point to where it's like, nah, I'm going to do 5 or 6 orders a day, because 30 days later, I know I'm just going to lose 5 or 6 orders. Worst case, if I miss a day, it's only going to be that. But no, I can do 25 orders today, and 30 days later, I don't have to worry about, oh, 25 orders fell off. No, I can just decide to drive whatever I'm going to drive that day. So bravo to DoorDash when it comes to this part. This is ideally, I would say, what we want as dashers, is to not be penalized or worry about something from 30 days ago that's going to penalize us in the current day. So I love that part about DoorDash. DoorDash is not perfect. I'm not saying they are. DoorDash has their faults and their bad things, but they have a lot of good things also that we tend to forget about, like the flexibility of being able to get out here and generally do this when we want, assuming that you're in the right tier to be able to do so and make as much as you want. You have some areas where you can dash as much as you want, up to 24 hours. And you have other markets where you can only dash up to 12 hours or whatever it is. Me, I can make anywhere between 200 and 350 a day in a 12-hour period daily. In the weekends, I can make even more. I've personally made a little over $500 in one day that I made a video on, if you want to go back and check that out. And that's just a certain way that I schedule myself and dash. So with that said, it's just up to what you want to put into it to get out of it. And that's for any market. On that note, so again, to not have to worry about the rolling amount of orders or deliveries is just an amazing thing. And I hope this side of that program update-wise goes through, because I feel like we'd be more at ease, which would mean that we would get out here and dash more, and just knowing that if you don't want to dash one day, you don't have to worry and come back to something, or you have to get caught back up. So the last thing, questions and answer wise, it says, are you planning to make changes to the overall Dasher program during or after the pilot? It says, we want to ensure that the overall Dasher rating delivers on our goal to make the qualifying for Dasher rewards more flexible on your terms. As such, we may modify the overall dashing rating, including the ratings that count towards it and their point values at any time. So we will let you know if we do. So just with that said, lastly, it's just kind of saying that it's a possibility that they can change the points part for the tiers, or they could change the points parts for the ratings. And then again, that also breaks down to whatever market you're driving in. So that's just where we would have to pay attention. But overall, through the whole program, it seems like they're saying they're not going to make any other changes, because that would just be like they lied to us about things and then did a switch and decided to remove them or whatever it is. And maybe they can add things, I don't know, but it just sounds like they're not going to make any other changes besides what the point scales are. And I'm sure they'll figure that out once this beta program, whatever drivers are out there testing this right now, if there is any, or while we're doing this program, if they roll it out nationwide, they'll figure out the points and determine what needs to be changed depending on the way the drivers are driving. So I'm just saying this program seems better than the first program. So please don't take this for granted, because this is something that I felt that we needed. As drivers, to not have to worry about that rolling amount of deliveries. It just sucked, but not to have to speak on that anymore. I don't want this video to be too crazy long, but I did want to give you my basic example and my thought on this at the beginning. And then I wanted to go over this here with you with all the screenshots so you guys were able to see. But again, they do have a page that you can go to. Just Google overall dasher rating pilot. And that link should be there at the top on the Google page, somewhere around there, under the DoorDash support page. So with that said, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, any comments, or whether they're good or bad, please don't hesitate to type down below. If there's any questions that you do have, I do take my personal time out to reply back to each and every comment that is posted, as I always do. And those people that know me, you know me well enough to know that I generally speaking will always reply back, even if it's bad things to people. I will make sense of things as bad things are brought to my attention or whatever it is. I'm not one here to fuss and fight and internet gangbang or whatever you want to call it. That's not me. I'm out here to make money, and the things that I'm going to report to you, generally speaking, are going to be things and ways for you to make more money. I'm not going to get on here and bring you down because I'm having a bad day or this and that. And it doesn't matter whether it's for content or not. Yes, my channel is monetized. Yes, I get paid for my channel, but this will never be my hub of money in terms of my main source of money. I have a day job that takes care of my life. This is purely extra that I do on the side, and I dedicate for myself and to you guys. And of course I get paid for it, but it's not something that I'm like, ooh, wow, let me do these videos just for the money part. I'm actually taking my time out from my experiences that I've had during DoorDash the last 6 years, almost 7 at this point. Wow. To then pass those off to less fortunate dashers that don't know. When it comes to certain things or whatever experiences that I've already been through, I'd like to help you along the way so you don't. And I know I've personally helped out a lot of people that didn't know things, or little tips and tricks and things like that took me years to figure out and or accomplish, or whatever it is. So that's generally speaking what my channel is about. I've seen enough negative channels that I was over it, and I just want to, generally speaking, have my channel, and that's what it's been. It's been based off positivity. No job is perfect, and I don't ever want to sit here and just make my channel be about the bad things in life, because those things you're going to have to deal with anyway. So why sit there and mourn and reminisce on the bad and the negatives? Just deal with them and continue on in life, just like we do in life overall. Deal with the problems and continue on. You're not going to unalive yourself just because you have problems. No, you get through it, you figure it out, and you keep on going. This is the same thing here with DoorDash. You have a bad day, get out here the next day and make it a better day. Make more money, set goals for yourself, things like that. Like I said, it's unfortunate when they don't pay very high in those markets, and it sucks, and there's nothing I can really say or do about that, but I'm not going to tell you to quit. Generally speaking, I'm not going to say you need to quit. I'm just saying that maybe it's a thought that if they're not paying you that great, that amount where it's just like all the orders suck, it's like, okay, maybe this door dashing thing, maybe it's not for you, but of course you can continue to do it on that note. So, with that said, I will leave you guys at that. Again, comment down below if there was any questions or concerns that you guys have. And until next time, your boy C Moto, you know what it is. Peace out.